Good evening, class. In our class of recreational therapy, facilitation technique, we learn about definition, we learn about intervention, we learn about description, we learn about historical perception, and we learn about like current researches and how we have evolved from back then to now. We also understand the different knowledge of like different type of skills. We learn how to communicate. We learn efficient leadership skills. We demonstrate knowledge of the ability of how to mobilize those with disabilities. We understand various techniques. In this class, we do a lot, and this class is extremely great and helpful. um yeah, majority of us who are taking this class would like to be either in recreational therapy, athletic training, physical therapy, occupational therapy. So we learn a lot about like motor units, even if it's not just this class, but we learn it in a variety through all of our classes. um we learn how to build, communication skills and different styles. We learn how to understand our future clients, or if you are within the major, then your current clients, a better skill to better comprehend them, to better assist. We learn how to build foundations, strong foundations. We learn how to do interventions. This is extremely important. This is great for trying to, basically with interventions, we can try to see like where we can go, how we can improve. We debrief situations, we take into consideration many things about how many may feel, what can be better, what worked, what didn't work. We learn how to debrief certain situations. We learn how to take heed with other situations, and we just learn how to grow. We learn how to continue to expand. We learn how to be knowledgeable. We learn how to really connect. And we do this because this is a major with care. This is a major where it does take love, it does take concern, it does take happiness, it does take understanding, it does take wanting to know, wanting to learn. And this is a great class. So, a history about recreational technique is one that I found particular was about nursing homes. To I They isolated nursing homes residents and were particularly encouraged slash forced to attend group sessions. Group sessions are like, I don't want to call it like intervention, but it's like when everyone comes together to express their like feelings, their thoughts, and so many more things about themselves. So it's like you're forced to sit in a setting where you express your feelings to a group of people. So it's like, for example, a question will go like, "So, Sharmika, how was your day?" And it's like, let's say if I'm not in the mood to answer that, or I just don't feel it, I would have to like, I guess today was fine. And then I have to go into detail of why it was fine and explain like what I liked about my day, what I didn't like about my day. I would have to like talk, and it's like that was one way that they forced it. At that time, they thought that it was a great idea, which I could get the concept of why thinking that talking out your emotions may be a great idea, but it's not the best method for everyone, because as we learn in this class and many other classes, there's many ways that you can express your therapy. One way can be through music. Another way can be through art. Another way can be through like activities. And at that, we weren't advanced back then, so it's like they only thought like the only great way was to speak about it. So everyone would just sit there and speak, "Oh, this is what I like, this is what I didn't like." But we didn't care to understand the fundamental knowledge of mood swings. We didn't care to understand like people had days where they just really didn't feel like talking. That's not how it's not saying that it's not saying that they did not want to express themselves. It's saying like at that time that's not how they wanted to go about expressing themselves. So the goal of, well, back then, the goal of, and still now, the goal of like group meetings are to enhance participation, feeling, self-worth, and to increase the sense and the meaning of personal identification. So they felt like if you were to sit in a group, which makes sense, like if you were to like sit in a group and just talk out your feelings, you would understand like, one, you're not alone. There's many people who feel you, who understands you. Two, like there's ways to get through it. And they also have like the saying, like, like when you speak your emotions out loud, you can kind of understand your emotions better. And you also like make friends. So let's say if I was feeling sad because of whatever reason, and then there was someone next to me, like, oh, like I get in the same moods also, like I get what you're coming from. So it's like now I have a partner who understands me. And usually, like in life, like life really does kind of get a little better once there is someone who can understand you, who can get how you're feeling. That is extremely important to have with someone. So it's like, but at that time we didn't know, but now we have evolved to understand like there's many things we can do for therapy. There is activities. You can go like jet skiing, you can do water activities, you can go scuba diving with someone, and you have that in common. You could do art, you could speak out how you feel about something through like art. You don't have to really like be the best drawer, the best painter, or any of that, but as long as you can like, okay, like if you could see your own hidden frustrations or hidden peace inside of that art, then it's a great way to have therapy. There's also music therapy that works for a lot of people. You can sit and you can listen to some calm music. You could just listen to the melodies of the song, or there could be songs where it's like these lyrics are really like catching you, like you felt that, like, oh wow, like he feels that too, I feel like that. And it's like, wow, this song is getting me like through the day. And that could be a form of relief and a form of therapy. So it's like the history of how it was back then. It wasn't a bad idea. It's just that I'm glad that we have evolved into learning different things about the history of the different techniques that we have used. Yeah, but that was one technique that I see in particular, and I was just close with, was them having like group sessions. And I understand now, like, because even sometimes, like even when I was growing up, it was like forced, group things. And it's just like, I'm not really feeling it. And it's like no one cared to understand that it's not that you just didn't want to participate. It's just that was not one form that you were strong in participating in. Okay, so the description and the purpose of facilitation technique. Facilitation technique accelerates the capture of planning, analyzing, and designing information. Also, with ensuring that the sessions participants work together and efficiently. Facilitation techniques are used for like to collect informations, designing, decision making, communications, meeting, and management, also to manage. Okay, so the purpose of this is, well, I just explained that purpose, but information collecting, right? That's important. So to gather information, you can gather information within groups. You can gather information within individual work. You can gather to see like as I stated previously, to see like what works efficiently. You could see who cooperated, why they cooperated, what did they like about this. This is basically for your establishment, for your clients, for yourself, to see like for your brand, so it may grow. For your understanding may also grow. So it's, yeah, like you also like collect data, you collect information, you collect like you basically collect data for numbers. Like, okay, let's say you had 10 clients and 4 of them like the water sports, 2 of them like the arts, 4, 2, 6, and like another 4 might have liked the music. So it's like with that data, you can like also, like when you have another incoming client and they ask you something like, hey, which one do you think is the most efficient? You can let them know these are what's ranked high, these are what people like, but nonetheless, these are available. And it can let you see like where you can improve at. So you can have high numbers. And decision making also is like how you would continue to move on. You would have to debrief with yourself. You would have to, not even with yourself, because if you're working with a team, you could debrief with the team. You could see what y'all liked, what y'all didn't like, what y'all should take out, how y'all can move forward, how to work with like a certain individual. Y'all can come together. Okay, well, this person seems like they're not interested in X, Y, and Z. How can we get them interested? How can we get them more involved? What can we do? Like, what are some things that they like that we just don't have? What are some things that we would need? Also, it's very important to be to have some type of communication skills, because whoever you work with, believe it or not, you are all leaders. So it's like it's best to communicate, to talk to each other. Hey, like if I know, for example, let's say there's this person named Johnny and they just hate doing the arts part of recreational therapy, but they move on to have another recreational therapist. I could let that therapist know that, hey, Johnny he's not really too attached to art, so they could find different ways to maneuver. Or if they would like to get him attached to art, then they could find ways to like, oh, you should try this way, you should try that way. Like communication will like build the bond between, not only between 2 therapists, but bond between a therapist and a client. And this can help grow within the community of recreational therapy and many other things. But the purpose of this is basically to grow, to be better, to accelerate, to be great. Also of the planning and the designs, like how we stage things matter, how we have things designed mattered, where we locate stuff matter, and that's important to recreational therapy. How we locate things matter too. We can't have something too far out knowing that everyone can't reach it. We can't have too many things too stuck together, because then it gets real clustered. So that's extreme planning, which is very, very, very important and also needed. And we must also make sure, like, regardless of if there's a type of student type of client who just doesn't like working with anyone, we must instill that participation in them. We must instill that team working togetherness within them, so they can learn the importance of it. And they can also too grow as people, as humans, to learn to find like, oh, there's someone that like I'm cool with. I can understand if they're not involved with every single person, but to have teamwork is a great dynamic.